Thanks very much for staying with us. Time now for Eye on Africa with me, Georgia Calvin-Smith. Tonight, South Africa's highest court rules that, contrary to her earlier belief, the parliamentary speaker can allow a secret ballot for another no-confidence vote in President Jacob Zuma. He, though, remains unfazed. Pulled in both directions, Nigerian refugees in Cameroon are being encouraged to return home by Yaounde, whilst the UN warns that without support structures in place back home, it's too early to head back. And a clean sweep. A new brigade of environmental police hit the streets in Tunisia in a bid to tackle a mounting waste problem. For now, they're just encouraging people to use bins and not open-air dumps, but fines are in the pipeline. But first, South Africa's highest courts ruled that members of parliament can cast a secret ballot in a no-confidence vote in President Jacob Zuma. He survived 7 such votes before, and opposition parties are hoping that more members of Zuma's ANC party might turn against him if allowed to cast their ballots anonymously. He's been engulfed by graft scandals, the country's economy is sluggish, and unemployment is at a record high. Despite all this, he remains defiant and dismissive of calls for a secret ballot.
You are trying to get a majority you don't have by saying secret ballot. I think it's not fair because you are trying to increase the majority you don't have. So that is my view. Let us vote the way we've been voting all the time. It will be the 8th time. I'm sure by the time we get to December, it will be more than 10. Anyway, the final question is, I think the people of South Africa did not make a mistake by electing me as the president of this country. I'm fit and I'm doing it very well. Thank you very much.
So, Zuma seeming pretty confident there. Judges have ruled that the Speaker of Parliament does have the power to order a secret ballot. No date's yet been set for the next no-confident vote, but whatever form it takes. Ashlynn Lang is joining us from Johannesburg for analysis of where things stand. Ashlynn, so it's all on the Speaker now. She had said that she didn't have the authority to agree to a secret ballot. Judges disagree. What's her next move?
Well, she's really pretty backed into a corner because while the judge made it very clear that he could not violate the separation of powers and order a secret ballot, he also made it incredibly clear that he thought it was necessary. He pointed to the potential for intimidation of MPs, for them to be bribed, for them to be threatened with the loss of their jobs, and suggested that those might be factors that would trigger a secret ballot necessity. As we know, all of those things have happened. It's been widely reported. People have been threatened. People have been told they will lose their jobs. The ANC has actually said that openly. And therefore, really, the Speaker has very little choice but to order the secret ballot. However, very difficult for her. She is the ANC chairwoman. She has repeatedly defended and protected Mr. Zuma from opposition attacks in Parliament over the years. She has been the reason that none of these previous motions of no confidence have been heard in secret. And therefore, she'll be feeling pretty fed up tonight, I suspect.
Ashlynn, we heard Zuma there sounding quite comfortable a little earlier. Any chance that in any way it might be 8 times lucky for those hoping for his ouster?
I think that it is entirely possible that it could happen. Certainly the ANC tonight, very confident, saying even if this vote is heard in secret, they trust the revolutionary discipline of their MPs. Their MPs have been ordered to all vote against this motion. The ANC Secretary General has said that you do not send your troops onto the other side. It's being made plain to MPs that this is an opposition motion, and no matter how they feel about Jacob Zuma, they must not give the opposition an easy win like this. That said, ministers that I've spoken to, MPs that I've spoken to, are sufficiently fed up with Jacob Zuma. They feel that he is so much damaging their chances of winning the elections in 2019 now, that they are prepared to do that, to take that risk to have him removed. Certainly Bantu Holomisa, who is the opposition leader who led this motion in the court that we heard the judgment from today, told me that really they are helping those rebel ANC members who really do want to get rid of Zuma. They're offering them a way out, and they're offering a way to get rid of him in secret so that there won't be ultimate reprisals.
Thanks very much. Ashlynn Lang there for us in Johannesburg. In other news, at least 7 people were killed after a suicide bomber targeted a police station in Mogadishu on Thursday. The driver of the car carrying the explosives at first tried to drive through the gates of the Waberi District Police headquarters before the device detonated against a wall. Somali extremist group Al-Shabaab claimed responsibility. It comes 2 days after at least 15 people were killed in a similar attack at a government building elsewhere in the Somali capital. The deaths of 6 people in a double suicide attack in the northern Cameroonian city of Kolofat has added more pressure on some Nigerian refugees in the country. Many fled to Cameroon to escape Boko Haram extremists, but Cameroon's keen for them to return home over fears that extremists may be hiding out within refugee camps.
These Nigerian refugees fled their country because of attacks carried out by Boko Haram. They settled here in Kolofata in Cameroon. But the area is also regularly hit by Boko Haram suicide bombers. Cameroon is now asking the refugees to go home.
There are more than 1,000 people here. There are no toilets, no food, and there's a risk of diseases spreading. There are incidents linked to suicide bombers. We don't know who is who. Suicide bombers can easily hide among the refugees.
But some refugees are not too eager to return home just yet.
We fled to Cameroon because they took our fields and animals. We have nothing to eat. That's why we're here.
And the UN Agency for Refugees agrees with this point of view. It especially believes refugees should not return to the town of Banki. This is what the head of the agency said on Wednesday.
I'm extremely worried that large numbers of Nigerian refugees hosted in Cameroon are again returning to northeast Nigeria into a situation dangerously unprepared to receive them.
Those that did return to the town of Banki said they did so because of difficult conditions in the refugee camps in Cameroon and because they wanted to go home to harvest crops.
Now, earlier this year, Tunisia banned plastic bags in a first step in the fight against a mounting waste problem. 35% of the country's rubbish doesn't end up in dumps. But a brand new environmental police unit's now on the beat in the hope of getting the country to clean up its act. Our correspondents Sandra Lutyens and Hamdi Tlili report.
Brand new uniforms and pickup trucks with GPS. The new environmental police of Benarouz is well equipped for their second day of patrol. 300 officers throughout the country have been trained to become champions of a cleaner city.
Don't you think this is becoming a garbage spot?
We have to keep this part clean, the rest, that's not us.
Shops, houses, supermarkets. The Green Brigade goes all around the neighborhood. No fines in the first month, but plenty of flyers. Their first priority is raising public awareness.
This is for furniture and this is for waste. The city council takes care of everything for free.
People throw everything away in the streets, their tissues, their plastic bags.
I hope you will all help us. Thank you.
A recent study says 80% of Tunisians are in favor of fining environmental offenders. But some are not so sure.
If you put garbage bins on the street and people put their garbage on the ground, then okay, we can talk. But before you tell us what to do, we need the equipment.
Here, for example, I would only have a chat with the residents of this area, because until we set up garbage bins, I can't find them.
This is a so-called black spot, wild rubbish dumps that spread out throughout the country. 28,000 new rubbish bins are currently being distributed. Meanwhile, the communication team has already launched a campaign to change public mindset.
This strategy aims to raise people's awareness, to empower them and get them involved so they can have a cleaner city. If the state makes all the effort, while citizens don't make any, nothing will change.
From July, throwing out or burning garbage on the street will attract a fine of between 15 and 20 euros. Public waste management may well be fleshed out further after Tunisia holds its first local elections in December.
Well, that's it for Eye on Africa for now. Thanks very much for joining us. Do so again. Take care.
France in Focus, presented by Nadia Sharbet.
The must-see program to understand France, its history and culture. An original look at French society and topical themes, revealing just what makes France and the French so unique.
France in Focus, en France 24 and france24.com.